Augusta here from The New Face of Finance. 1 week ago today, I gave birth to my new baby girl, Egypt, or Gigi, as we'll be calling her for short. So I went into hospital thinking that the whole birth experience would last days. I came super prepared, had a music playlist, I had wireless earphones with wires, speakers, we had our snacks, changes of clothes, baby stuff. I watched a ton of videos, spoken to a ton of people, and was subconsciously ready, consciously. And I felt that I was emotionally, physically and spiritually ready for the process. So I went in on the 30th. I was to be induced, medically induced, because of my gestational diabetes, amongst other reasons. And I was super level-headed, even started making a delivery labour vlog, as you can see here. Wednesday, the 30th of December. We are in hospital today. I'm being induced, so should meet baby in a couple of days, a day or two. I don't know how long it'll take, but it'll be sometime before, or sometime between the end of the year and the start of the new year. So yeah. Baby's heartbeat between 100 and 160 is healthy and super active baby. Compression socks to avoid blood clot. End of the first night in hospital. I'm starting to have contractions now. They weren't painful, but they are getting painful. So we'll see what happens for the rest of the night. So while I was in a hospital, before the contractions got too heavy, they did do a COVID test on me. They went in there, they swabbed me at the back of the throat and in my nose. It wasn't as unpleasant as I thought it would be, but maybe she didn't do it properly, because I got a call after I got home with the baby saying that the results were inconclusive and they wanted me to go to a drive-by or a walk-in centre and get a test. And I just thought to myself, well, you should have done a test properly, firstly. Secondly, I just feel like I'm exposing myself even more by going out when I could just stay in my house and I've got no symptoms. So I didn't go for any further testing. So I understand active labour to be about 4 centimetres dilated. I think I skipped the active labour part because literally I went from my waters breaking at 11 p.m, then being run a bath. I had like an amazing midwife. She put me in a smaller bath and it was painful during the contractions, but actually lovely. It was so relaxing. I hadn't been in a bath forever when the contractions weren't happening, but they were just going on, excruciating. She's like, look, I think that you're going to be comfortable in a bigger bath. So she moves me over to this much bigger bath. It's like a hot tub. And I'm in quite a lot of pain at this point. But the bathtub is super relaxing. You're able to spread and the warmth goes up you. And look, you might want to feel a bit squeamish. Don't listen to this, but I think it's a really natural and important part of my experience that I think is important to share. But yeah, you know, they say that the feeling of when the baby's about to come is a bit like taking a giant poo. I took a giant poo in that bathtub and I was looking at the midwife thinking, I'm telling her, you're an absolute saint. Oh my gosh, I heck of a job. Now, my job is hard, but that is certain levels of hard that you can deal with. And in any case, after that happened, it still felt like I really wanted to push. And the nurse was like, don't push on the closed cervix. And I was like, well, it feels like this baby's about to come. So she took me out of the bath, took me over to hospital bed, checked, and there's my baby's head. So the whole thing was wrapped up in an hour 45, which is pretty crazy. And then, yeah, we met our little baby. So last night was a massive whirlwind. After I said goodnight, contractions got really painful, and then at about 11 p.m. my waters broke, and I was in pain for some time, but by midnight 45 the following day we had a baby. So me and Nick are now parents. It's the new daddy.
Hello.
And there's our little princess. So, you know, previously I wasn't a massive New Year's Eve fan, but now New Year's Eve will be such an important date for me and hubby for the rest of our lives. So, as I was saying, poo's a reality, the pain is a reality, and I tore. Now, I was super afraid of tearing prior to the actual birth experience, but I spoke to my midwife who explained that tearing was something absolutely normal. I'd read lots of material that suggested that actually probably 80% of pregnancies lead to some form of tearing. And what I came to understand is that while you're actually in labour, you don't notice it happening at all. Now, it was only a 2nd degree tear, and to be fair, I expected that it would happen because, you know, that area is pretty small. But what I will say that I spent a lot of time leading up to this pregnancy really preparing for the event. And as such, I would have explained that we used the Aniball, which was used to kind of expand the cervix or get it flexible and used to expanding. And I did a lot of perennial massages in that area. And so although I didn't avoid a tear, I do think that those exercises meant that it was only a 2nd degree and not a 3rd or 4th degree tear, which I think it easily could have been. But also I think that they meant that my labour wasn't on and on and on, because actually that area was prepared, was quite prepared for the delivery of a child. And so for that basis alone, I definitely recommend the exercises, products like Aniball and perennial creams in order to get your body ready, as well as, like, you know, hypnobirthing and psychologically just being ready for the process. I think it all made a massive impact in how smooth and positive my birth story ended up being. Now, as baby was born just before 1 a.m. on the 31st, technically I could have left and been home for New Year's Eve. However, there's not much going on in 2020 with New Year's Eve. And also, I really wanted to work on nursing my baby, breastfeeding my baby, and I wanted as much support as possible in doing so. And so I decided to stay an extra night on the 31st and ring the new year in hospital. Unfortunately, they had to send Nick home around 8 or 9 p.m. So it was just me and baby, but it was like the best New Year's Eve ever anyway. The only thing that would have made it more amazing is Nick being there with us. But we then left on the 1st of January after a number of doctor's checkups, and also having gone through the night and practice breastfeeding, Gigi. Now, breastfeeding is super challenging for those of you that have never tried it, and I really genuinely understand why lots of women give up, but I was really, really determined to somehow get the baby to breastfeed. Your milk doesn't appear immediately. It takes 2 or 3 days to actually come in. And so in those early days, if you are breastfeeding your child, what you're providing them is with colostrum. They call it liquid gold. It's, really thick, milkshaky for the baby. And they've got to suck super hard to get it out of your nipple. And I think that, and given that I'm not used to people feeding on my chest, I was in super loads of agony. Also, baby didn't latch, couldn't latch. All the YouTube videos and all the training that had been done just wasn't working with baby. Since taking her to see one of the midwives post natally, and she has identified that maybe baby has a tongue tie, which sounds really like scary and off-putting, but basically like there's a ligament that joins her tongue and the bottom of her mouth, which means that she can't raise her tongue too high, she can't stick it out too far, which makes it latching onto the breast quite big, especially because, like, you know, I don't have the smallest nipples in the world. So we had so many challenges with the whole breastfeeding aspect, and what ended up happening is that they gave me these nipple shields to see if that would make a difference, and actually baby was able to latch onto the nipple shield, but it was excruciating. I'd say labour was more pleasant than those early days of breastfeeding. They really, really hurt, and it put me off, and I couldn't for 2 or 3 days. Then the milk started to come in eventually, and then I pump, and then as I was creating more and more milk, I tried baby on again yesterday, and we're still using the nipple shields just because I got a pair that I think work a bit better, and so yeah, it's more protective, and because baby's been on bottle, you know, it's easier for her. So we've got new nipple shields, they work better. She's breastfeeding again. I don't produce enough to keep her satisfied, but I know that I'm giving her something of that goodness, and I see she's different after the breast compared to the formula. But yeah, there was a super loads of guilt in the beginning about giving her formula, but like I'm totally over it now. Okay to supplement, I mean, food is food, you know. But I'm glad that I can give the breast. In fact, the long-term plan is to see if I can replace the ratio, so maybe she's drinking way more breast milk than she is on the formula, but that's going to take a bit of time. That's going to take some work and dedication. It's going to take me to, you know, make sure that I'm pumping or feeding her daily. So no pressure. I'm going to see how it goes. She's an angel in any case. So yeah, I'm just glad that we're finally making some progress there. I think at some point I'm also going to do a video, just because I bought initially a I won't say it was super expensive, but you know, a costly pump, which is a hospital grade pump. I bought a hospital grade pump from a company called Minby, and so I had those, and then I also went to the store and just bought like a handheld pump, and I found that they had like pretty different results, and I think I'll make a separate video about those at some point. I need to use them a bit longer to make a fair assessment. Sleep. So look, I'm super nocturnal. I actually really love working in the middle of the night when everyone's asleep and people can't call me, and I just know that I'm going to get on top of emails because new ones aren't going to be ending up in my inbox as I go. So loved working in the night. I always have. Did my GCSEs literally studying at night, A-levels as well, so it's my thing. And in the months leading up to the pregnancy, didn't get much sleep anyway, couldn't get comfortable positions, my bladder was always getting filled up. So I got used to getting lots of stuff done in the evenings and then, you know, catching naps in the day. So baby's here, and I'm getting even less sleep. I think you start to see like the bags under my eyes now, you know. I'm even getting even less sleep, but it's an absolute pleasure, and I'm sharing this joy with my husband, with Nick, who is not like me, likes a night's sleep, but is incredible. I am tired. I'm really tired, but she's a great baby. She rarely cries for no reason. In fact, I think I've been able to diagnose pretty much all of her cries to date. She's super peaceful, and when she's asleep, and I can crack on with sorting her stuff out, getting bottles sterilised, working on emails, and then catch the odd 1 or 2 hours where possible. I should say actually, something I think that really impacted how long I was in labour for was exercise, which I haven't done much of since I gave birth a week ago. I'm going to ease myself in because obviously I had some stitches, got to wait for those to come out, and as I say, I'm quite tired, but I do definitely need to get back into exercising as soon as possible. postpartum support. Yeah, feel super supported. Both the grandmas came to visit, my mum, Nick's mum, and actually I've had the loveliest week. We've sat around chatting, laughing. They're both Igbo, so they can speak the same language in Nigeria, which is great. They're both super excited. Mum obviously super excited. You know, her first child, so her first child now has a child. I mean, literally have 3 generations. And Nick's mum just can't even believe he's got a kid. Nick's mum's been great. She's been like making loads of meals, forcing it down my throat, trying to keep the breast supply going. But these meals have been great though. They've been absolutely lovely, and they've been really healthy as well. So it's been a great week. There's not been much room for postpartum blues. Of course, those could turn up at any time. But between the businesses and Nick's support and my mum, and his mum, and the lots of love from like friends and family being sent virtually over the phone, we feel pretty good. Their support has been particularly invaluable this week because I didn't actually take maternity leave. Literally, I think we went back from hospital on the 1st, the weekend was the 2nd and the 3rd, and I was back to taking phone calls and replying to emails on the 4th. So I've just gone straight back into it. I think that was the best thing to do. It's not like I'm living on a laptop. I spend an hour or 2 a day. I've got an incredible team who support what we do, and I've been doing this for a really long time. So I feel super blessed to be in this position and to be, you know, to be having a child with so much flexibility. I also had the great pleasure of hosting my really good friend again, Charlie Alexander of Farley Photography. Now, Charlie did the photos for the maternity shoot, and so I invited her back for the newborn shoot. I just love how professional and respectful she is. She turned up, masked up, and tried to socially distance as much as possible. Was super quick. I mean, you know, she turned up and it was all a bit helter-skelter, getting baby fed, getting ready for the shoot, getting everyone prepared. But she was so calm and so great, and her direction was lovely. And we got all the combinations of photos that we needed. And I'm really excited about the final result. I think she's worth her weight in gold, and the prices she charges are super reasonable for the results that she gets. Timing was impeccable as well, because obviously we managed to get loads of newborn pictures of Gigi, but because the grandmas were there as well, it was a much more family affair, and therefore got loads of like really great family combinations as well, which was great. In any case, 1 week postpartum, I'm super happy, I'm overjoyed, I feel so blessed to have such a beautiful and healthy baby. She's so strong, and I'm going to be making more videos, probably focusing a bit more on business now, because we have a development project coming up in 2021 that I will be filming and talking about. If you liked this video, please do share, subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you in the next video after I've had some sleep.